She said, "I want to look beautiful. I want to dance, so that Hassan boy will forget who my father is."
Before Atifa could go to the wedding, she had to prepare a meal for her grandparents.
She sent her grandfather to buy some tomatoes. She had cooked chicken and was preparing some rice. And then they came along and arrested her.
My father was told by the neighbors that Atife had been taken away by the morality police. Everything was still on the stove when he got back, and neighbors had to turn everything off because he couldn't do it himself.
The circumstances of this arrest were unusual. The moral police gave as the reason for it a petition submitted by the locals of the area.
Atife Sahala is a source of immorality, has been having sexual relations with various men, and has left no dignity for anyone in the area. She's a terrible influence on local schoolgirls.
The petition had no signatures, except those of the moral policemen who had presented it.
This, I think, is very unusual. It looks like a fabrication to me rather than anything else.
Just 3 days after her arrest, Atifa was brought to court in the neighboring town of Beshar. Atifa was to be tried once again for crimes against chastity in a revolutionary court and according to Sharia law, which, since the time of the revolution, is Iran's highest legal authority. The Sharia judge, with Atifa's life in his hands, was Haji Rezai, the head of the judiciary in Neka.
The judge is the ultimate power in that court. He acts as jury, he acts as a prosecution, he questions you, he deals with evidence. In this case, as I am aware, he personally conducted the case in details, questions her in details.
There is no court transcript available from Atifa's trial. It seems Atifa was given a court-appointed lawyer, but no journalist has ever been able to find him. He reportedly had a heart condition and left halfway through. The only member of Atifa's family present was her nearly senile grandfather. After Atifa's death, limited court documents were obtained by a human rights lawyer from Tehran, Shadi Sadr.
The only thing we can do is to prove that mistakes had been made in judging the case. Atife is gone and will never return. But what is important to me is to make sure it could never happen again with another girl.
Atifa was interrogated about the rumors she'd been having sex outside marriage. Under intense questioning by the judge, Atifa confessed to the secret of her alleged sexual abuse by Ali Darabi, a secret she'd kept so far, even from her own family.
It came out when Atife was receiving lashes and being flogged. She cried out his name only under the beatings of the torture she'd received.
But the authorities did not place the responsibility for the relationship with the older man, Ali Darabi. Human rights advocates say it was he who should have been charged with rape. But under Iranian law, this would be almost impossible.
Generally, it is very difficult to prove rape in an Iranian court. You have to have the confession of the accused or a number of witnesses to the crime. And rapists can usually get away with it.
But once ensnared by the legal system, young Iranian women can find it difficult to get out. Not realizing that the slightest mistake could result in the ultimate punishment. The road that led to the execution of a teenage girl in Iran ended with her relationship with an older married man. Atifa Sahala claims that during a 3-year relationship, she was sexually abused by Ali Dorabi. But he was never charged with rape. Instead, it was Atifa who was eventually convicted of crimes against chastity under Islamic Sharia law.
Men's word is accepted much more clearly and much more easily than women. I can say, she encouraged me, or she didn't wear proper dress, for example, or she wasn't covered very well. No matter how hard she tries to say, this man is 51, nearly 4 times older than me, they won't believe it.
Frustrated with the court proceedings, Atifa is reported to have protested, shouting at the judge, and even throwing off her veil in anger.
She even threw her shoe at the judge during the trial. When a child is scared into doing things she wouldn't normally do, who can blame her?
The judge later referred in public to Atifa's sharp tongue and the fact that she'd undressed in court. For a girl with 3 previous convictions, it was a very dangerous outburst.
In the case of Atifa Sahala, conviction for crimes against chastity. As this is her 4th time, the sentence of execution by hanging has been issued.
Atifa wasn't married. The punishment should have been 80 lashes. The court should confess their mistake, a horrific mistake, that culminated in the execution of a young teenage girl.
Though accurate numbers are scarce, the filmmakers found 14 recent cases of women sentenced to death for crimes against chastity. In 2005, 2 young men were also executed for homosexual behavior. According to the letter of Sharia law, crimes against chastity are punishable by stoning to death in public. But since the 1990s, the judicial authorities in Iran have opted for a more modern method, hanging by crane. This footage of an execution for kidnapping in 2004 shows the deeply shocking reality of a public hanging.